I'm going to go ahead and welcome you to our first event of the First Generation Student Success Series for Spring 2023, Career Planning Tools designed for first generation students. For those of you who are new to the First Gen series, I'll just give you a quick bit of background. Dr. Carla Marquez-Lewis and I began this series back in fall 2021, I guess, with the goal of helping to demystify higher education for our first gen students, but not only first gen students, right? So these events really are designed to be of use and interest and support to all of our students. So we've done events on topics like financing your education, identifying mentors, navigating imposter syndrome, as a way of providing our students with emotional and material resources and support as they make their way through their degrees. So our next event is on April 20th. We're going to have a wonderful event with its first gen faculty roundtable. So we've identified some faculty at SPS who are themselves first generation students, and they'll be sharing their insights and experiences. So that's from 12 to 1 on April 20th. Please put it on your calendars. And now, without further ado, I'll turn things over to my co-organizer, Carla Marquez-Lewis, who's going to introduce our guest today.
Thank you so much, Dr. Alsop. So today we are lucky enough to have CareerSpring here, which is an amazing resource. And I've said this many times, that I wish I'd had this when I was a student, because it would have really opened up doors, I think, for me that just were not there as a first gen student. So today I'm representing CareerSpring. We have Eliane Abou-Assi. She joined CareerSpring in the summer of 2022. And she leads business development in New York and the surrounding tri-state area, serving as an ongoing liaison for partners and advisees to ensure optimal career access outcomes for local stakeholders. Eliane has over a decade of experience with nonprofit organizations, specifically with causes related to mental health, child development, and social equity. Originally from California, yay, California. Eliane moved to New York City for her education. She holds a bachelor's degree in psychology from St. John's University and a master's in ed and an MA in counseling psychology from Columbia University. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to you, Eliane, and welcome and thank you for being here. And you can also introduce Michael if you'd like.
Yeah, of course. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for the introduction, Elizabeth and Carla. I'm so happy to be here today. I'm joined by my colleague, Michael, who is from Detroit, and he's going to be listening in and helping me answer some questions in the chat. I'm going to start by sharing my screen, and then we will begin my presentation. So as Carla said, I'm from an organization called CareerSpring. Today, I'm going to tell you a little bit about who we are and how we can help you and hopefully onboard the students on the call onto our platform to get you access to the resources we can provide. As a bit of background, CareerSpring is a networking and job placement platform for first generation and low income students. We do support students in a number of ways, but with access to information, we offer advisors and then we offer job placement services. And I'll talk a little bit about how we support in each of those ways. One of the things I want to ask those on the call today is I'd like to get an idea of the students that are joining us. So if you could in the chat, just let me know what your major is. And I'd love to kind of see where we're at with the students on the call. So if you could just type that in for me, that would be great. And I'll give everyone a minute to do that. Business and entrepreneurship, business, IT, IO, psych, amazing. Okay, cool. This is great to know. Thank you all for sharing that. And then I just have another question. Who here has an idea of the career they want to pursue and has actually talked to someone that works in that role before? So say you want to be a psychologist and you probably have professors, but have you ever talked to them about their day-to-day and what their job looks like, or know anyone in that role that has served as a mentor for you? And you can put in the chat, or you can use the raising your hand on the reactions on Zoom. I like the audience participation. So, let me know. I see one person says that they have. Has anyone else ever talked to someone? Amazing. Okay, great. Thank you all for sharing that. That's awesome to know that you've actually had access to someone in the roles that you're seeking. So to start, I'll talk a little bit about why CareerSpring was created. So one of the things that a lot of people don't know is that 70% of all jobs are actually not published publicly on websites. So LinkedIn, Indeed, 70% are not even on there. And 80% of them are filled through personal or professional connections. So thinking about, have you talked to someone in the roles that you're interested in, is really good for you to consider if this is the way that, finding jobs works. CareerSpring itself, we have a ton of advisors on the platform. We have over 1,000, and actually 34% of them, and an increasing number, are first generation professionals. And we have people from over 100 different unique professional roles on there. And then the last thing I wanted to put was just that students and young professionals that have internship and early job career experience are 35% more likely to get at least one job offer after graduating. So these are stats for us that really help fuel our mission and why we do the work that we do. How we can support students and what our platform offers. I'll first start with the video library. This is really good for career exploration. We call it our career exploration library. These are 5 to 7 minute long videos of real world professionals who talk about their day-to-day. This is really great if you're just exploring. So say you're looking into cybersecurity or just information technology. Obviously, that's such an umbrella major. There's so many things that you can do with that. So it's good to understand what the different roles you might be able to explore with that degree are. And you may not be someone who wants to talk to 1 million people. So you might just want to watch a video, which is great. You can watch these videos and the professionals will talk about what they do on a day-to-day, their path to profession, things that they wish they knew. And then they'll talk generally about the salary and benefits associated with the roles. Again, this is really good for if you're just exploring jobs, or even if you're applying for a job and you're like, this sounds great, but I'd love to hear about what day-to-day that looks like. One of the funniest ones that I know, and because I was a therapist, was learning from a psychologist that half your day is just writing notes. And people didn't think about the note taking associated with that kind of role. So it's good to get the ins and outs. It's the same with nursing. A lot of people didn't realize when you're a nurse, you're actually writing so much and you have to keep so many records, and people didn't think about that. They just thought about the hands-on work that you're doing. So this kind of will give you insight to what your day-to-day looks like. The other thing that is our advisor forum. So as I said, we have over 1,000 advisors on the CareerSpring platform. Over 34% of them are first generation professionals. This is not a mentoring program. It's not an ongoing thing that you're signing up for to talk to someone every few weeks. You can chat to someone who is newly in their job. You can chat to a CEO and you can just pick their brain about their job. You can ask them any questions that you may have about the industry, about the company that they work for, and about their career. They're half-an-hour video calls that you can set up. It'll give you access to professionals, as I said, from all walks of life. We also have candidate coaching, which I know that your career services probably does a lot of what these advisors do, but our career coaches on our platform are people that can offer resume review, mock interviews, and they'll go through that with you personally. They're all people who come from HR recruiting backgrounds. We also do job placement services. So as you saw on that first stat on the last slide I was on, that over 70% of jobs are not on platforms. So CareerSpring works with employers nationwide. I know a lot of you are joining from New York. So we have plenty here who offer us opportunities and want to hire first generation talent. And so we constantly are updating our platform and posting jobs and internship opportunities. We also have an information toolkit. So we have access to cover letter samples, resume samples for students to review just to help them. We have tips for reviewing benefits once you get a job. We have information on if you've never worked in an office, like what that might look like, and support through that journey as you're entering that. So this is CareerSpring. I want to get everyone signed up who's on the call today. So what we're going to do is that exactly. So for those of you that have a cell phone on you, you can scan the QR code, or I think they're going to put the link in the chat, or you can go to careerspring.org. You're going to click sign in and go to the passcodes section. In that, you'll enter your school's unique passcode, which is going to be CUNY SPS, all caps, and then it's going to send you an email to register. I'm going to stop sharing I'll keep this on, but for a minute or two longer and let you all sign up. But please let me know in the chat or feel free to raise your hand once you are signed up so I know when I can actually go to the platform and show you the demo. If anyone is having any issues with the passcode or signing up, please put your questions in the chat, but I'll give it another minute to get you sorted. And then what I'll do is I'm actually going to pull up the platform myself and show you how to navigate it. If anyone does complete their profile, if you could just drop a message in the chat to let me know so that I have an indicator of when I should move on. I don't want to speed ahead too quickly. You're going to put the passcode is CUNY SPS, but then you'll set up a password for your individual profile. Alexandra, thank you for letting me know that. So I'm going to exit out of this. And I'm going to switch to our platform. And I'm hoping you guys can all see this okay? Right? Amazing. Thank you for the thumbs up. So this is what CareerSpring's platform is going to look like for you. Instead of saying welcome CareerSpring, it's going to say your individual name. For me, it would say welcome Eliane. This is really a homepage. It's a hub of everything that's kind of happening on your profile. If you set up meetings, some people that you can set up consultations with, and then some job suggestions. When you set up your interests in your profile, it's going to ask you again what those career interests are, and then we'll cater our outreach to you, and the system itself will cater some recommendations based off of the interests that you share, which is why I said, like, please do put those in because it helps. I'll start with the order that I went through. So the video library. As I said, there's about 400 videos in here. You can filter based off of fields of study, function, different industries, or you can just search in here. So I'm just going to do nurse. And again, these are 5 to 7 minute long videos of someone speaking about their day, how they got there, path to profession. We also have the responses from each video typed out. So say you want to listen to Rachel's video, but also you might just want to read about the answers that she put in. She has all this written out for you as well. We also link out to the Department of Labor's Outlook Handbook, which tells you a little bit about the general salary, education requirements, work environment. This is just kind of a nationwide resource for people to use when exploring jobs, and we use that as a point of reference at CareerSpring. There's a ton of different videos on here. You can watch from a lot of different people. Some of the people that have done videos on our platform are also listed as advisors. So Rachel is also an advisor, so you can see here that it links to her advisor page, which I'll talk about now. The platform is very user-friendly to navigate. So where it says advisors, you can just click on that and people will come up. If someone has this little bird right here, that actually indicates that they themselves are a first-generation graduate. Over here in the upper right-hand corner, there's a percentage. This percentage will match you to people that are within the industries that you've expressed interest in. Again, you can sort by industries. You can search for certain employers. Say you're applying to a job, even if it's not on CareerSpring, with a certain company, like let's just go easy with Google. We have we have advisors on here that work at Google that you'll be able to talk about to hear about their experience, maybe tips for the application process or interview process. Here you can search by advice topics. So when our advisors register for the platform, there's a number of things that they can talk to you about. Academic, one of the ones that I really like to recommend to just people in school is making the most of your time in school. What can I do while getting my degree that's going to help me for after my degree? What resources are helpful? What experiences will look good on my resume? So you can click on that and it will filter by people that are comfortable with talking to you about academic success. The most popular and the general one is just a career conversation. So say that you would like to talk to Richard. You're going to click on his profile. All of our advisor profiles sync to their LinkedIn, so you can see their work experience. You can see their job or their education experience. You can also see what languages they speak if they're a first-generation college student, and read a little blurb about them. Here you can see that Ricardo is interested in supporting people with just general career conversations. And you can go here to see when he is available. It syncs to people's calendars. So say I want to talk to him next Saturday at 2 p.m. I can click Saturday at 2 p.m. I can add a second time slot here. And those suggestions will be sent to him. Then you click continue. And then a message prompt comes up where you can fill in and tell Ricardo a little bit more information about why you'd like to speak to him. Once that's done, you can send the request, and then he'll confirm which time works best or schedule a new time with you. All the communications are done through the platform in the messages section, and you can communicate through here. The consultation itself, which is the video meeting, will also happen through the platform. So when you go back to that homepage and it says meeting hub, it'll list your upcoming meeting. There's no limit to how many people that you speak to. If you talk to someone once and you'd like to talk to them again, you can message them, you can schedule another time, or in your conversation, just say, hey, I found this really helpful. Would you mind if I reach out to you again? All of our advisors on our platform are so excited to speak to people. They get really hype about being able to talk to our advisees and support them and answer their questions. So when you schedule a consultation, you'll receive a tips guide, which will help maybe navigate the conversation for you. If you're like, oh, I don't know what the best questions for me to ask are, or how can I make the most of this experience? There's gonna be some tips in there for you. There are people from all backgrounds. If you're looking to go into to graduate school, you can search the school and see if anyone has gone there. There's a lot of different ways that you can kind of navigate this to find the right people. If not, you can also search for CareerSpring staff and just talk to someone about on our team about how to best navigate it. Like, hey, I'm studying this and I'm struggling to find people in this industry. Like, what can I do? CareerSpring has a really rich network of people throughout the country. And so we're always expanding who is on the platform. And so if you're like, man, I really want to do this really specific job and there's not anyone on there, can you help me find someone? And our team will onboard a new advisor for the exact job you're looking for, which is great. The other thing I want to mention while I'm still on the advisors tab is the candidate coaches. So these are the people that I mentioned are specific to the advice topics about like HR related stuff. So you can click candidate coach, and then down here, you can filter by advice topics. And you can see the topics here, which are how to prepare your resume and cover letter, how to prepare for an interview, how to know your story and tell it well, resume and cover letter review sessions, mock interviews, elevator pitch, and navigating HR dynamics on the workplace. Again, scheduling that conversation is very easy to do. You kind of fill in that information and you'll be able to talk to a candidate coach. The last thing there's two more things I want to go through. So the jobs, which is the job placement, which is massive. If you were able to join, I did see some people struggling in the chat and I want to address that, but I'll kind of work through the demo first and then we can troubleshoot collectively if you weren't able to get on. But once you do get on, one of the things I cannot recommend more if you feel comfortable with where your resume is at is going here. The very first thing on our platform in the job section is this general resume database. If you upload your resume here and we see that you're interested in IT, when we have an IT role, we'll actually reach out to you and say, hey, Carla, we've got an IT role in New York you might be interested in applying for. It could be an internship, it could be a job. It just means that we already have your resume and we know what you're looking for. Even if you already have a job, then that's great. But if you're just looking for opportunities, drop your resume in there because what we have listed on the platform today might be different in a week. We might have new opportunities that's constantly changing, just like any other job board. And so it's a great way to just stay in the loop about opportunities. So if you're on right now and can do that, do it. All you put in is your name, you click learn more. It's going to open into a new tab. You'll click apply now. Upload your resume, put in your name, email address, phone number, graduating year, major. You do not have to add a cover note here. So that's not a required field. And then you'll hit apply now once you've answered all those questions. It will help a lot. If not, you can search specific jobs on the platform. As I said, these opportunities are always changing and they're nationwide as well. So some of the questions might ask if you're open to relocation. Say you're graduating from New York, a school in New York, like you are, but you're originally from, Chicago and you want to move home after school. You can start to look for resources and connections like through the platform in that way. There are a lot of remote roles that are always changing. So you can type in remote here in the upper left-hand corner, and you'll see a few different opportunities coming up. See, we've virtual software engineering, data analyst. There's a lot of different opportunities. If you're just looking for New York, you can type in New York, and you'll see a lot of other opportunities come through there. Again, it's always changing. If you're looking for internships versus entry level, you can filter by that. If you're looking for different industries, you can filter by that. We try and add as many keywords and information in the back end as possible so that the searches are just really optimized for you. When you apply for a job through CareerSpring, you'll submit your resume, and someone from our team is going to reach out to you to do a 10-minute screening phone call. This is very straightforward. All they're going to do is talk to you a little bit about your resume. They do this because they, one, want to make sure that you're applicable for the job. We work with a lot of different schools, and sometimes we have, freshmen applying for things that are for seniors. And so they just check that information to make sure it's correct. But also, because we work closely with the employer partners, they might say to you, hey, Michael, I saw that you put this on your resume. Let's elaborate on that a little bit, because we know that this partner is really looking for this skill. And this is really going to help strengthen your resume before we submit it through to them. So they're just going to help you hopefully get over that finish line. Because we have these partnerships as well, we often find that it helps if a school or if a company is getting 700 applications, we're always going to email them to say, here are the 10 from CareerSpring. And they'll always make sure to look at those resumes and give them an extra eye, because we have those partnerships. So it really does help, hopefully get you across the finish line for when applying for jobs opportunities. There are also programs that are going to be listed on the platform sometimes. So a lot of different companies out there host like 2-week training programs, and we try and post those opportunities as well. What I'd recommend here, you'll see this community tab. For those of you looking for full-time roles, we have a full-time job seekers that you can join. And all you hit is you go to the community tab, and then you just hit join, and you'll be accepted into that group. Or there's an internship seekers one. All the internships that we post on CareerSpring are paid opportunities. We're really adamant about that. And so if you are looking for something for the summer, now is your time. We're doing a March Madness to promote internships and job opportunities. There's a lot on the platform, and throughout this month, we're going to be posting more. So stay tuned, and I definitely recommend joining that internship seekers group. For those of you that are nearing graduation and you want to just start preparing, we do have a lot of people that are hiring now for May graduates. Join this full-time job seekers group, and hopefully we'll be able to help you find an opportunity. Again, if you're not finding a job through CareerSpring, but you're like, oh, I found this job at this company, go to the advisors, search the company name, and see if you can just talk to anyone that works there. I swear it helps. I know people that have been hired through advisors on the platform for companies that we don't have a relationship with, but the advisor has helped them navigate the interview process to successfully be hired. So it's a really great resource. I know that a lot of the time growing up, people will often say it's all about who you know, but what if you don't know anyone? This will help you meet people and build those connections that will hopefully help you in the long run. CareerSpring is all about the longevity of supporting students. So we start by working with a lot of students in high school. We help support them through college, and then hopefully get them a job afterwards. And then one day we just want everyone to come back and be advisors so they can help support the future generations of graduates. So that is the platform demo. I think I've gone through everything that is key for the introduction. I do see a few questions. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen and run through those and see how we can support. But if you do have any questions about CareerSpring or the platform, please do put that in the chat now.
Thank you so much for this walkthrough of this amazing platform. I hope those of you who've been here throughout the whole thing, and even those who join later, have been able to see all of the great tools and why we thought it was so important to bring this to you. I mean, there's so many unique features. I've never really seen a platform like this built specifically for first-gen students. And as Eliane said, this idea about who you know being so important. I mean, I think we all have countless stories about people getting jobs based on networking. So any opportunity that you have to build a network would be great. And this is a great way to do it. We want to open it up to your questions. There are some already in the chat, and we'll start there and then kind of work our way through. Elizabeth, I know you've been monitoring it from the beginning. Do you have a first question we should be?
Sure. Yeah, I don't know, Eliane, if you want to start with the troubleshooting question, but there's actually one that just came through that might be more relevant to what you were just demoing with the platform. A question, are there any full-time social worker positions?
I don't know if there are any right now, but we do have organizations that send that through. So we have connections. Certainly drop your resume and we'll be in touch. I think it just depends on if you're a licensed social worker or working towards that and where you're at in that process of getting the master's and the licensure.
Okay, great. We also have, it looks like a couple of questions sort of about employment status for international. Well, it looks like maybe both ways. So the one that just came through is, are there international opportunities, i.e. jobs found outside of the US? And then there's a related question from a student who says, I'm not American, but studying with CUNY, am I able to gain employment in the US? So sort of two different sides of that question.
Yeah, I'll start with the first one that you asked. So jobs found outside the US, not as much. We're focusing really on kind of moving and focusing on the US workforce right now. CareerSpring is only 2 years old, so maybe one day, who knows? A lot of our partners, however, are international companies. So like Deloitte or Goldman Sachs, they have companies outside of the U, or they have locations outside the US. Maybe sometimes it's just about getting your foot in the door. I know like Gen 2 Fund is a company that we work with, and I know that they have locations worldwide in Asia, Europe, South America. And so perhaps it's about starting with a company and then moving towards the international track with them. In terms of the applicability of not being an American, so you can totally join the platform. What happens is, we always follow our employer partners requirements. So if a company is open to sponsoring, they'll list that in the job application. If they're not, then they'll also detail that as well. So it's really just the employer and what they prefer.
Okay, that's great, Eliane. It looks like there are a couple questions about troubleshooting, which I'm guessing doesn't make sense to work through individually now, but if folks are having trouble joining the platform, it looks like one person maybe didn't get an email verification. What's the best way for them to kind of follow up or fix that after, or if they're watching the video and having trouble?
Yeah, so I just put my email in the chat. If you didn't receive an email, double check your spam folder. Sometimes it goes to your spam. I'll just say it. I know it sounds simple, but it could just be there. So double check that. If it still doesn't send to you, I've put my email in the chat. Just shoot me a message and I'll get you onboarded on the back end.
Yeah, and for those with CUNY addresses, there's a new function in Outlook where it sorts some of your email into like a different folder. So do make sure that you're checking all your folders for that verification email for sure. It also looks like we just got a question from Kelly. I'm trying to move from an assistant role to a management of assistance role. I think I'm reading that right. Can CareerSpring help with that?
If you're looking for a new job, then yeah, we can check out the chat or the platform and see what opportunities are there. If you're looking for advice with that, you can also talk to someone and just about making a lateral move within the company that you're currently working for. So I think it just depends on if you're just looking to gain knowledge on how to best go about doing that and how to progress, or if you're actually just looking for a new role, then we can do that. I will say a lot of the roles for us are kind of like entry level. And so I will note that some are looking for 2 years of experience, but we really try and just make it entry level since we're working with so many colleges and universities we want to have as many opportunities for the people that we have on the platform as possible.
That's great.
Eliane, I have a question. I know that you were talking about the resume piece where you can upload your resume. I was wondering, for those people who are sort of shy or privacy minded, this stays solely within this platform. And can you just talk a little bit about who has access to it?
Yeah, of course. So CareerSpring has a job placement team. It's 3 people that help kind of review all the resumes that we get nationwide. They'll look over your resume for you. We store everything on a platform, which is firsthand, which is all secure. And when you sign up, all the terms and conditions are there. When you apply for jobs, they'll look over that. If you're worried about your data information and hesitant about sharing, you can always do that. The candidate coach and just share your screen and review a resume with someone if that's more your vibe, and just be like, I don't really want to send my resume anywhere, upload it. But I'd say that all your information is going to be secure with CareerSpring. We're not sharing it outwards unless you want to apply for a job. That's the only time we're going to pass it to anyone that's outside of our team, but it's with your knowledge that you're applying to the job. And when you set up that screening, they'll talk to you about what the next steps are on how to get from CareerSpring to the employer for that application, because a few of our employers have different ways they'd like to collect the information.
That's great. Eliane, I have a question too, maybe also for you, Michael, just from your perspective, sitting on sort of the other side of this, what is something you feel like you really would love students to know, or something that you feel like, is maybe something that students, either it's a misperception or something that's like, an obstacle in the career search, like something that you would really want to impart to this group? And that's a hard question.
Michael, I see you unmuted yourself. Tap in.
Well, yeah, no, I would just jump on a point you made early. Most jobs are not listed. It's really about connecting with people, and the advisors are a great tool to do that. If there's companies you're interested, see if there's advisors from that company. Just talk to people through the advisors who are in that industry, and one thing will lead to another. You can't just say, I'm going to look for posted jobs and go that way. It's about connecting, and CareerSpring is really a great tool to do that.
Thanks, Michael. And I'll add, so I mentioned a little bit ago that CareerSpring is only 2 years old. Our founder worked at a high school in a high needs community, and he saw that a lot of the students were graduating, going to college and getting the 4-year degrees, and then coming back and getting minimum wage jobs. And there's actually a lot of data out there about first gen students and how common that is. And, I think a lot of people, and I won't spiral, but you're trying to break out of that cycle of poverty that exists in so many communities. And having a network can really help with that. When you know people that are well connected, when you know people that are in the industries that you're going to look for. And I know, like, personally, when I first started networking, I was like, oh, this is all, like, I hate this. Like, it didn't feel natural to me. But when you meet people who can guide and support you on your career journey, from the beginning days to 10 years in to 20 years in, it's always good to just know people that can support you. And I can't emphasize how helpful the advisors on our platform and how excited they are to talk to you and to have these conversations. Like, they just feel they're on the platform for a reason. They want to talk to you and they want to support you. They want to be a part of your network. So I can't emphasize doing it more. A lot of the students I've been speaking to lately, I'm like, put a reminder in your calendar once a month, schedule a conversation, and just talk to someone. By the end of the year, 12 new people in that industry, you have them on LinkedIn. It's just such a good resource that, when I was 22 or starting out, I didn't have. And so it's great to think about. And again, these are only 20-minute conversations. It's not a lot of time that you're taking up.
I think one of the things that we used to, we regularly tell students is to reach out to their faculty members or to reach out to people. And I think people talk about LinkedIn a lot, reaching out to someone on LinkedIn and saying, hey, let me take you out for coffee but the nice thing about, I think, having a platform like this is everyone's already bought in. I mean, they want you to contact them. And that's not always the case with LinkedIn. Sometimes you're really just cold contacting people, and that is very awkward. So I think it's nice that you have a group of people that you already know are going to say yes. So that's great.
Totally. And I'll add, it's not often that you can just like ping a CEO and be like, hey, can I have 20 minutes of your time? Especially for those of you looking into business or entrepreneurship, like that's not often that you can talk to someone who's been on that journey and talk to other founders and people that have started their own businesses. And again, you can talk to those that are just starting out. So for those of you that are maybe looking to go into psychology, talking to someone about the licensure program and the master's, but also talking to someone who's had a private practice for 20 years. It's not often you can kind of talk to people through every stage of their career. And, I recommend talking to people in every stage of those careers and exploring that with them.
Yeah, I saw a lot of thumbs up while you were speaking, Eliane, and I was reminded that a theme throughout this whole series has really been sometimes the reluctance of first-gen students in particular to ask for help, to feel entitled to ask for help. They feel there's a certain reluctance sometimes about asking questions, or a perception that may lead to some, like, either not a response or an unhelpful response. So I think this is such an important point that you and Michael are raising, just about, maybe that if that it can feel like an obstacle to have to reach out and do some networking. But I love this idea of making it, like once a month. That's totally manageable, right? That feels very doable. It's like a little challenge to set for yourself. And, we tell students the same thing in their classes, right? If you think you're going to need an extension, you have to reach out and ask for help. Like, we want to help you, right? People want to help, but there is, a degree to which, you have to take sort of the agency in doing that initial outreach. So I love this idea.
Yeah, and I think just to add to what you said, is that's one of the reasons we have that little bird icon on some of our advisors. It's something we really try to have, so that someone else is first gen, and they sometimes people just get it, and it makes a really big difference when you're talking to someone who maybe has some overlap in the journey as you, and it does offer comfort in knowing that. And so saying, like, okay, first gen to first gen, what was it like for you? And being able to explore that with them. You can filter, as I said, to search just for first generation professionals. So using that as a resource to kind of understand what their journey was like can be really helpful, and for students as they navigate this platform.
Seeing some reactions in the chat, some 100%, some thumbs up. Any other questions that are coming up as you're listening to this conversation? Again, no question is too small. I'm definitely of the school that there is no bad question. Feel free to pop anything in the chat, or you could use the raise hand function.
While we're waiting, I will just really quickly share my screen one more time to kind of wrap up this presentation, and just say that one of the things CareerSpring does is we also want to be able to provide you, under that informed thing, helpful resources like you're here today. Don't come on April 20th because you guys are hosting an event that same time. So just ignore the April 20th event. But we do host regular, like every 2 weeks, actually, we're hosting something called the Lunch and Learn, where they're usually pretty small, like 20 advisees on them. We're talking about the transition from, college to real world. We're talking about top five ways to make your resume better, financial literacy. We cover a lot of different topics. When you become an advisee on the platform, you'll get email invitations to all these opportunities. So that is something we also offer, just these learning webinars to help better inform you kind of as you navigate the platform, looking for jobs, updating your resume. We really try and cover all of our bases.
And the first one about evaluating an offer, does it by any chance cover like negotiations, salary negotiations? I know that's an area that people really struggle with.
Yeah, I think I've read really great research on that, actually, on how, like, just the hesitancy of asking for more. There's such an internal process and dialogue that you face when doing that. I believe that they will. I can double check with our team and ask them. I think when they talk about making an informed decision, that they'll cover, like, how, even looking at that Department of Labor stats to see what the average salary is for these roles is huge. I know we're really lucky out here in New York where people have to list salaries now. I think that's like such a big win. I know sometimes people are kind of putting wide ranges, but take a look at that Department of Labor, and you can kind of see what the salary for that role should be. But they will likely, I'm assuming they're gonna cover salary and just evaluating an offer and making an informed decision on that. And they'll talk about the steps to understand salary and benefits and everything like that.
That's great. I mean, I think that's an area that people struggle with a lot, is kind of the knowing your worth kind of piece, but also knowing that you can negotiate, right? I think a lot of people are not aware that that's kind of built into the process. A lot of employers expect you to come back and don't mind, but I think that a lot of people fear that they'll lose the the opportunities. So, and there are tactful ways, of course, to do this. And so it's great to have guidance on that.
Yeah, that's a huge topic. And I see some support for that in the chat too. I mean, even, yeah, knowing to negotiate, let alone how to negotiate, is such a big step. So I think, yeah, education around this is so key. So this is great.
Definitely. And CareerSpring, we also work to inform our employers. You know, I think we work with a lot of DE&I teams in companies that are just looking to diversify. There is amazing research out there about just the grit and hardworking that is natural to first-gen students, and kind of what all of you have in the room that a lot of other people don't have. So understanding that value for you is just as important as it is for employers to understand. And so that's something we really want to emphasize to all of you that are joining us today. Just remember that.
Yeah, I think Elizabeth and I have said this at every event we've had, like, you bring something valuable to the table that nobody else has. And that is worth something. I mean, not just financially, but I mean, just in all ways. You know, your perspective, your lived experience is needed at the table. So don't sell yourself short.
No, and we've talked about this too, but like, I'm always totally taken aback by how much our students take their expertise for granted. Like, it's wild how I'll have students just like drop into a discussion board or something, be like, oh yeah, sorry, it's a little late. Like, I was, you know, helping to televise the presidential debate, or like, I was a focus puller on this episode of some show last. I'm like, while you're doing your homework, right? Or while you're finishing this assignment. So there is like this incredible experience that you're bringing. Our students are bringing incredible linguistic proficiencies, so much rich lived experience. But I think sometimes you forget it. They forget it. We all forget it. But so I think it's really, this is such an important reminder to, as Carla said, know your worth and really take stock of all that you have to contribute.
Are there other questions?
I'll just leave my email on the screen for another second, just in case anyone needs to like screenshot it or whatever. Just if there is any questions that you have, please do not hesitate to reach out to me, whether it's navigating the platform, getting onboarded. If you're just like, I have more questions, or you want to do another demo one-on-one to help navigate the specific things you're looking for, feel free to reach out to me at any time, and we'll get you sorted.
Yeah, so I think that's a great note to end on. Eliane, thank you so much for this demo. And Michael, thank you for being here as well and weighing in. Thanks to everyone here that took time out of your day to join us. Thanks to Carla, and we really hope to see you on April 20th for our roundtable. In the meantime, yeah, have a wonderful rest of the day, week. And thanks again, Eliane and Michael. It was great to have you here.